March, the Empire's on the run. Alex Jones and the GCN Radio Network.
I began to get into iodine a few years ago because it was helping me and my family so much get healthy and detoxify. Most people know that iodine deficiency has been a crisis around the world. Iodine is key to so many of the body's functions, especially the thyroid. I discovered a product being developed by Dr. Group. You now know it as Survival Shield True Nascent Iodine that your body can really absorb. Then, about a year ago, he said, listen, if you think this is powerful, I'm going to come out with rare earth, deep earth crystals. And the results that I personally have had have been life-changing. Nobody else has got iodine based on these pure crystals, ladies and gentlemen. This is innovating, and the best part is it helps fund Infowars.com, the radio show, the TV show, the whole media operation promoting true libertarian ideas. For a limited time, experience the ancient power of Survival Shield X2. Take advantage of this unprecedented 30% off super detox special at InfoWarsLife.com. From the water table to our soils to the atmosphere itself, our world is becoming more and more toxic each and every day. But it's not just the air outside that's toxic. Indoor air has been shown to have 2 to 5 times higher concentrations of pollutants than even outdoor air. And most Americans spend 90% of their time inside using toxic chemicals within their homes. There are more than 42 million smokers in the United States. Well over 1,000 types of mold and mildew linked to numerous conditions. And don't forget the fact that 6 million Americans live with pets they're allergic to as well. When I began to research these statistics, it was clear to me it was time to start cleansing my lungs in order to combat the toxic environment that we cannot escape, but that we can fight back against. Made with organic and wild cultivated herbs and manufactured in the USA, the new InfoWars Life Lung Cleanse is here in a convenient spray bottle that can be brought with you throughout any toxic environment. Now available exclusively at InfoWarsLife.com or by calling toll-free 888-253-3139. After consulting top doctors, nutritionists, pharmacists, and others, we have developed what I believe is the ultimate non-GMO organic Super Male Vitality formula. Super Male Vitality by InfoWars Life is so powerful that I only take half the recommended dose.
I jump out of bed ready to fight these criminals every day. I look forward to waking up and taking my Super Male Vitality.
Visit InfoWarsLife.com today to secure your Super Male Vitality and other powerful products from InfoWars Life.
The government's Department of Homeland Security is buying up loads of ammo. At the same time, they're restricting civilians' rights to own and purchase firearms. Can you put 2 and 2 together? Infidel Body Armor can stop every round, including hollow points and .308 sniper rounds, is reasonably priced and fully legal. But for how long? Go to InfidelBodyArmor.com, spelled INFIDEL bodyarmor.com. Infidel Body Armor. Just won't quit.
Live from Austin, Texas, broadcasting worldwide, it's Alex Jones.
We'll be fighting in the streets without children at all.
Welcome back to the Alex Jones Show. I'm David Knight in Austin, and joining me right now from the UK is Paul Joseph Watson. We've been talking about his articles. He analyzed the video last week talking about the Foley beheading and said that he had concerns based on the fact that it was, we were told not to watch it. We were threatened not to watch it. We were threatened that we would be considered terrorists. It's an amazing reversal of what the UK and the American governments have done, essentially giving carte blanche to these Islamic terrorist groups and their social media postings while censoring people from sharing our information many times on Infowars.com's Facebook site. So it was an amazing reversal, and so that got his curiosity up. I think other people were curious about that as well, and so we had some experts testify this weekend that they believe that it was a fake beheading. But this is all being done to set the stage, again, for war. A year ago, it was war with Syria. Now, a year later, it's war with Syria, except this time it's with Assad instead of against Assad. This time, they want to go to war with the group that they were funding and training last year. Remember when everybody said that we were not going to be al-Qaeda's Air Force? We had Ted Cruz say that. We had Dennis Kucinich say that. And it was true. We were equipping and training these guys. And they said, we're not going to be their Air Force. It was a questionable trying to blame the sarin gas attack, saying that it could have only come from from Assad, and that narrative failed at the time with analysis. And so now they're coming up with something different. Paul, I'm reminded of the fact that Henry Kissinger said that we don't have any permanent allies, only permanent interests. I think maybe the permanent interest of the American government is to somehow get involved in a war in Syria. It doesn't really matter which side we get on, does it?
Well, exactly. This is the poster child for military expansion into Syria. As you said, Ghouta, 2013, almost a year ago, actually, just over a year ago, chemical weapons attack, obviously blamed on the Assad government. We talked to eyewitnesses who went to the very region, talked to the rebels who were stationed in the region, and that's included an Associated Press reporter who went there, or who coordinated with another reporter who went there. And they said that the Saudis had provided the chemical weapons to the rebels. They had mishandled them, causing this chemical weapons tragedy. Of course, it was blamed on Assad immediately to grease the skids for war. MIT later investigated the incident, concluded that it could not have been launched from a government area. But at the end of August 2013, we were right on the verge of going into Syria. It was only derailed at the last minute. So,
and here we are again, a year later, in August, except that this time they've got a different pretense for going to war, and they want to fight on a different side, but still in Syria. Isn't that interesting?
It's also interesting that some of the neocons are saying, well, Obama should have armed the rebels in the first place, then ISIS wouldn't have spread, which again is a complete misnomer, because most of the rebel groups became more and more hardline, and in fact, many of them defected to ISIS. So they were supported, in fact, with some weapons and hundreds of millions of dollars of aid from.
I think we're breaking up a little bit on your Skype feed there.
Talking point is.
I think we're losing a little bit on Skype here. It's essentially too. I remember a number of years ago there was a site, I think it was either National Lampoon or The Onion, and they had a headline making fun of the fact that Americans are really only concerned about what happens to Americans, and it was something like Chaos-Stan earthquake kills millions, 2 Americans feared missing. So they're trying to bring this particular one home by showing an American journalist being killed. That's what the narrative is about. I think they're trying to. I think we got Paul back with us now. Paul, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just saying, a lot of these videotapes get released at opportune times for military expansion in the Middle East. So before the surge, or just as the surge was ending in 2007, a bin Laden tape popped up, which criticized the US government for its inaction in the Middle East. Again, before the 2004 election, of course, we had bin Laden pop up. Many attributed that to Bush winning the election. Several other examples. So these so-called Al-Qaeda or terrorist videotapes have only ever proven opportune for the US military-industrial complex, and we now see that happening again.
The rhetoric is really over the top as well. As I mentioned, this article from Friday, headline, Obama administration says that Foley's execution is, quote, an attack on our country. And the Deputy National Security Advisor, Ben Rhodes, said it was the first ISIS attack on America. In other words, you know, this is a direct attack on America. And yet we have the Obama administration standing down at the border, completely opening it up, having the Border Patrol standing down, essentially. And as we've reported many times, there are people from all nationalities, not just people from Central America, that are able to come through that. And it's open to terrorists from the Middle East. It's open to terrorists from Central and South America, because many of these drug cartels are terrorist groups. They're they're not just engaged in drug trafficking. They're doing human trafficking. They're kidnapping. They're killing people. They're beheading people who oppose them. So there's not a whole lot of difference between the actions of these people, and yet they're using this open immigration as cover to try to get people in. They're also trying to portray it in the media as if it's just children coming across. If they were really concerned about this, and if they were really concerned about terrorism coming to America, I would think that they would do something about the border.
Well, exactly. There's a lot of talking points today about, you know, ISIS, all they need to do is get on a plane to attack America. Well,
they don't even have to do that. They can just walk across the border.
Exactly. And now we're seeing, you know, Lindsey Graham, who's been pushing for well over a year for the attack on Syria, he's back pushing this narrative. There's a new context, they call it, a new context given to this impetus by this James Foley beheading video. So it's a poster child for a war on Syria, basically. There's some noise about, oh, we could coordinate with Assad to attack ISIS. Again, Assad has said on many occasions, any military involvement by the US aggressing against Syria is an act of war. So I don't believe for a second that they're going to coordinate with Assad and that he's going to accept it. It's not going to happen. And again, this is all based on what these forensic experts have said is a fake video. Now we know ISIS is brutal, savage. They've killed hundreds of thousands of people in cold blood. Why would they censor their own video? Why would they not behead Foley and show it to the world for the shock value? Yes. Because I've suggested, and it's pretty clear from this video and from the analysis, that this video was not produced and released by ISIS. It was most likely produced by the same kind of companies linked with the military-industrial complex that we've seen produce Al-Qaeda videos before.
Yeah, as you mentioned in the article, and as you mentioned in the last segment, you see them drawing a knife across his neck 6 times, but there's no blood to be seen. And then, as you just pointed out, they do a cut, you know, a video cut, I should say, and come back showing the head off. So why would, as you point out, why would they censor this when they put up all of this other graphic stuff? And why would our governments say you're not allowed to watch this when they essentially promote this stuff? They just want the narrative to go out there for the usual suspects like Lindsey Graham, who, as I said before, he's kind of like 100% Machiavellian with a thin veneer Gomer Pyle. This guy is always there pushing war, along with John McCain, who was photographed in Syria with Al-Qaeda rebels and terrorists just a year ago, trying to push these guys into war. Now we're supposed to go to war against the guys that Lindsey Graham and McCain supported a year ago.
It's amazing, and I mean, you can delve into it even more. If you zoom in on the actual beheading, the so-called moment of beheading, which we don't actually see, but when he starts to cut the throat, you can see the guy's actually got what looks like blood packets ready to release, and he starts releasing them, and then the video cuts to black. So there's all kind of analysis going into this, but it's again, his demeanor before he's being beheaded is composed. This is not a guy who thinks or knows he's about to be brutally slaughtered. I mean, anyone else wouldn't even be able to speak, never mind calmly read out this script.
Yes.
And it just looks like a theatrical production, and that's what these experts said. And it's just amazing for me to be called a conspiracy theorist last week, and then these top experts working for British police basically make all the same points I did in my YouTube video, and yet it's still kind of under the radar, and we're still treating this video as a real casus belli, a real, something that greases the skids for war when it's obviously staged.
Yeah, Anthony Freda has a great graphic. I don't know if we've got that up or not. I think that was going to go up on the site, essentially showing these guys to get the idea. Do you guys have that graphic there? I don't know if we've got it up on the site or not. But basically, he's got this picture that you've seen of Foley on his knees and the guy in black standing behind him with the knife. And they're standing on a set. That's a giant green screen behind them, and then you see the composited picture on a monitor in the front and all the studio lights and everything. I mean, that basically says it all, doesn't it, Paul?
It does, and I mean, this stretches back years. We were doing articles in 2007, Al-Qaeda videotaped digitally doctored. They actually discovered that the terrorist logo was being embedded into the video at the same time as the Intel Center logo. Intel Center was a company that screened terrorist videos basically for the Pentagon, released them having obtained them, who knows how, from terrorist groups. But they actually found out that the terrorist media, their logo was being added to the video at the same time as Intel Center, this group that basically works for the Pentagon. And this happened numerous times. We documented it over and over again. And those videos they tailed off and stopped. But now they're back with yet another one. And it's even more suspicious.
We've got, for people who are watching the feed now, we've got that picture I was just describing of the the graphic that Anthony Freda did. It basically shows the U.S. government on one screen, they show the composite picture on another, and then you see this big studio set with a green screen